Welcome, everyone, to Catholic Sunday Scriptures in Context. So this week is the 18th Sunday in Ordinary Time, July 30th, 31st. And our first reading is from the book of Ecclesiastes. Vanity of vanities, says Koheleth, vanity of vanities, all things are vanity. Here is one who has labored with wisdom and knowledge and skill, and yet to another who has not labored over it, he must leave property. This also is vanity and a great misfortune. For what profit comes to man from all the toil and anxiety of heart with which he has labored under the sun? All his days sorrow and grief are his occupation. Even at night his mind is not at rest. This also is vanity. So the word Koheleth is sort of a Hebrew word that's combined, and the best translation of it is preacher or leader of the congregation, and that's where the title of the book came from. It's the Greek version of the word congregation, Ecclesiastes. That's where we get the word ecclesial, church, so forth. In the verse before this, there is the attribution to the son of David, who would be Solomon. Solomon was the patron of wisdom literature, and so it's sort of dedicated to him. It said it's written by him, but it's certainly not written by him. The word vanity is really in Hebrew the word breath or vapor, to give you an idea of how light it is, or how just temporary, things. That's what vanity is. It's not something that is long lasting. And basically the message of the reading is that life is empty, the things of this world, and it's transient. It doesn't last forever. And the message here is don't locate your happiness in the future. The joy is in the labor itself. You work and work and work, and then you die and somebody else inherits it. So put your joy in the work that you do. Our second reading comes from Paul's letter to the Colossians. Brothers and sisters, if you were raised with Christ, seek what is above, where Christ is seated at the right hand of God. Think of what is above, not of what is on earth. For you have died, and your life is hidden with Christ in God. When Christ, your life, appears, then you too will appear with him in glory. Put to death then the parts of you that are earthly: immorality, impurity, passion, evil desire, and the greed that is idolatry. Stop lying to one another, since you have taken off the old self with its practices and have put on the new self, which is being renewed for knowledge in the image of its Creator. Here there is not Jew or Greek, circumcision or uncircumcision, barbarian, Scythian, slave, free, but Christ is all in all. So this reading comes from chapter 3. In chapter 2, Paul has been fighting against false teaching, and now he brings it to conclusion by proclaiming Christ as the fullness of God. And as we've mentioned in the last two Sundays, this letter is really a reflection on baptism. And so he talks about baptism as uniting Christians in the death of Christ, and for us it is a death to sin, but it also unites us with his resurrection, this resurrection to new life. And then he tells us to turn away from earthly things, from immorality, impurity, passion, evil desire, and the greed that is idolatry. Stop lying to one another, and so forth, and to turn to heavenly things, the things of God, to put on the new self. And this is a baptism image, because in the early baptism ceremony you would put on a white robe to signify your new life in Christ and the purity of that life. And he concludes this by saying, through baptism we are all united. There is no longer, Greek or Jew, circumcised or uncircumcised, all, Christ is all in all. Our gospel is from the 12th chapter of Luke, and it's the story of the rich fool. Someone in the crowd said to Jesus, "Teacher, tell my brother to share the inheritance with me." He replied to him, "Friend, who appointed me as your judge and arbiter?" Then he said to the crowd, "Take care to guard against all greed, for though one may be rich, one's life does not consist of possessions." Then he told them a parable. There was a rich man whose land produced a bountiful harvest. He asked himself, "What shall I do? For I do not have space to store my harvest." Then he said, "This is what I shall do. I shall tear down my barns and build larger ones. There I shall store all my grain and other goods, and I shall say to myself, 'Now as for you, you have so many good things stored up for many years. Rest, eat, drink, be merry.' But God said to him, 'You fool, this night your life will be demanded of you, and the things you have prepared, to whom will they belong?' Thus will it be for all who store up treasure for themselves, but are not rich in what matters to God." So the basis for the telling of the parable was a family dispute over money or inheritance. I'm not sure why he wanted his share. Well, he says share of inheritance, so it's obviously that. And the issue here is that the young man is focusing on the wrong things. And the word greed derives from a Greek word which meant a desire to have more than one needs. So because this man had an abundant harvest, it wasn't wrong to build new barns. The reason for building the new barns was wrong. It was a self-centered good life. He didn't think about sharing what he had with others or, having all participate in his blessing. He was more concerned, for the earthly riches and the wealth that would bring him rather than the good he could do. And this is also a story about waste. If you don't use it, you lose it. These are the things, it's goods not used well will be lost. And that's what is the focus of the story. One's life does not consist of possessions. Again, please pray for peace in Ukraine, and I welcome your comments, and please share this with anyone you think it would be of value to them. Thank you very much.